Purdue, Arizona, and Kansas. You cannot trust them in March because you cannot trust their point guard play. T.O., is that a hot take?
I'll say so. Purdue, Arizona, and Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kansas gets enough done. I worry more so about their 5-man, but it just depends on matchups too. Purdue, that's a weird one for me because I think it comes more down to, are they going to be able to defend the 3 whenever they're playing against really good small conference teams? And we all know that they're going to try to pull them out and just shoot over top of them. That's how those teams win. Point guard play, I worry more so. If I had to pick one of the 3 of who I worried about the most when it comes to point guard play, it would be Arizona, because I think Kirk Kriisa, his susceptibility to emotion is too much to win consistently, because he gets way too fired up. Like, you love emotion. You love like guys being fired up and all that stuff, but you also have to be able to bring it right back down. You saw his susceptibility when they played at UCLA. You also saw the positive side of that when they played UCLA at home. So it's too much like this. That's why it makes me really nervous, because you have one of those down games in the NCAA tournament against a really good team, you can be put out early. If I had to worry about that, point guard play matters. Obviously, out of those 3, I think Purdue can slow it down and figure some things out offensively enough to where you don't have to worry about it. I worry more so about them defending. Kansas, Bill Self. Arizona, I worry about Kirk Kriisa. As much as I love him, I worry about him.
Yeah, I think it's too hot of a take for Purdue. I think it's a good take for Arizona and Kansas. The reason why with Purdue is, if I'm in a late game situation, I say, well, I'm too talented to totally hinge on my point guard play. Here you go, Jaden Ivey, make a play for me. You're going to be a top 5 pick. You're more than capable of making plays for me. And you look at Purdue from a turnover standpoint. It's not like Eric Hunter Jr. is a turnover problem, and I don't think he is. I mean, I look at what he's done recently for them. This is not a high turnover rate player, so I don't worry about Purdue from a point guard standpoint, because I think that Jaden Ivey is so tough late in games. They can give him the ball. He can find catch and shoot weapons like a Stefanovic, or if you're playing through the post, Travion Williams is as good of a passer in the post as there is. So I don't worry about Purdue from a point guard standpoint. I worry about Purdue from a defense standpoint.
Yeah, it's the defense for me with Purdue. But I'm concerned about all of them. But here's the thing. There's concerns that I have about every single team in the country. I love Auburn. I don't trust their point guard play after watching what happened against Georgia, right? There's definite concerns there for me. I love Kentucky. But if you get Oscar Tshiebwe in foul trouble, what's the answer there? Gonzaga, I love watching them play, but at the end of the day, if you put a bunch of athletes out there, what's going to happen? We've seen it twice this year. What's going to happen? So
big, strong athletes,
big, strong athletes. So I think that they are valid concerns. I think that there are valid question marks about all 3 of those teams, about their backcourt play, about the way that it's going to get used. I don't think there's a guarantee for any of them to make a run in March, but there's not a guarantee for any team in college basketball this year to be able to make a run in March. So that's going to be the beauty of it, man. There's nobody that you could sit here and pencil into the Final Four. Last year we had 2 of them. In past seasons, we've had 2 or 3. This year, there's nobody that you could sit there and pencil into the Final Four. And it's going to make it for a glorious, insane month of March. And not just in the NCAA tournament. The conference tournaments are going to be out of their minds too. So I'm looking.
I can argue against myself a little bit here, because I'm just going to, you said Gonzaga. Like, I sit here and look, and according to what I'm saying, like, Texas Tech would be a matchup nightmare for them, because they're big, they're physical, they're switchable, all that stuff. And then Gonzaga thwarted them by 14. Like, and it's like,
no, well, here's the thing. I think you need to be able to run on Gonzaga, because I think that for all of the issues that Chet has, and you need a big body inside, you need to be able to kind of have someone that can beat up Chet a little bit in the post if you're going to play a half court style, or you need to be able to get up and down and run with them and take away the advantage that he provides inside. Because if there's one thing that he does, he makes it so that their perimeter defenders can overplay, and it makes it really tough for teams that are going to kind of like dribble around and try to drive and penetrate. And that's kind of what Texas Tech is. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the other problem is, you could be as big as strong as you want. If you're 6'6", you have no shot against Drew Timme.
It's funny,
but Mark Vidal did. That's kind of where go crazy with that. Like he just shoved him away from the bucket. Couldn't get anything.